Joints in the human body. Learning outcomes. 1. Distinguish between the classifications of joints and understand the functions of each type. 2. Review various joint movements and explain how ligaments and cartilage contribute to joint stability. 3. Relate joint concepts to everyday activities and discuss the importance of maintaining healthy joints for overall well-being. Definition of joints. A joint, also known as an articulation, is any place where adjacent bones or bone and cartilage come together to form a connection. Joints allow for movement, example, limb movement, and stability, example, skull bone stability. They can be classified based on structure, fibrous, cartilaginous, or synovial, and function, immobile, slightly movable, or freely movable. Structural types. Fibrous joints are where adjacent bones are strongly united by fibrous connective tissue. An example of this is the membrane between the ulna and radius called interosseous. Cartilaginous joints are a type of joint where the bones are connected by cartilage. An example of a cartilaginous joint is the pubic symphysis. Synovial joints are characterized by a synovial cavity filled with synovial fluid, which lubricates and nourishes the joint. An example of a synovial joint is the knee joint. Synovial joints. Ball and socket. Ball and socket joints consist of a spherical head of one bone fitting into a cup-like depression of another bone. The shoulder joint is a classic example of a ball and socket joint. The head of the humerus forms the ball part of the joint, while the shallow, cup-shaped glenoid cavity of the scapula serves as the socket. Hinge joints. Hinge joints allow movement primarily in one plane, like a door hinge, permitting only flexion and extension. The elbow joint is a hinge joint formed by the articulation of the humerus, upper arm bone, with the ulna and radius, forearm bones. It allows for movements like flexion and extension of the arm. Pivot joints. Pivot joints, also known as rotary joints, are a type of synovial joint in the human body that allow rotational movement around a central axis. The atlantoaxial joint between the first and second cervical vertebrae, C1 and C2, is a pivot joint. It allows for rotation of the head from side to side, such as when shaking the head no. Condyloid joints. Condyloid joints allow movement in two planes, primarily flexion and extension, as well as some abduction and adduction. The radiocarpal joint in the wrist is a condyloid joint formed by the articulation of the radius and a row of carpal bones. This joint allows for flexion, extension, abduction, and adduction movements of the hand. Saddle joints. Saddle joints are similar to condyloid joints but have a greater range of motion. They allow for flexion, extension, abduction, adduction, and circumduction. The carpometacarpal joint of the thumb is a saddle joint, where the trapezium bone of the wrist articulates with the first metacarpal bone of the thumb. This joint allows for various movements. Gliding joints. A gliding joint is a type of synovial joint in the human body characterized by the sliding or gliding movement of the articulating surfaces of bones. Intertarsal joints allow for subtle gliding movements between the tarsal bones. These movements contribute to the flexibility of the foot, facilitating actions such as walking, running, and balancing. Performance task. Goals. To demonstrate an understanding of joint concepts by relating them to everyday activities and discussing the importance of maintaining healthy joints for overall well-being. Roles. You are a health educator tasked with creating a presentation. Audience. The audience consists of high school students aged 14 to 18 years. Situation. As part of the health education curriculum, you have been asked to create a presentation that helps students understand the significance of joints in and how maintaining healthy joints contributes to overall well-being.
Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more future educational videos.